All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever part of the world you are in today. Thank you so much for joining us for our September town hall gathering for King's Counsel and Trust Family Office. Those of you that have been on this journey with us, you see that we are rolling out some incredible new things, including our brand. Our team is expanding, and many of the things that we are here to share with you. We're doing what we can, taking your feedback to make it as easy and effortless to join and get involved. Those of you that are here for the first time, welcome, hello. We'd love to hear from everybody. Where are you coming in from? Go ahead and say hi in the chat and maybe what part of the world you're joining us from. And if you're here for the first time, let us know that you're here for the very first time and maybe who invited you. So we have a very full agenda. Those of you that might be wondering what we do, here's a quick overview of some of just a highlight. We've got a lot more depth to this. Cincinnati, Ohio. A lot more depth to what we do, and you'll learn more as we go along. Those of you that are interested in today's replay, if you go to King's Counsel and Trust YouTube channel, we post all of our replay videos there, and you'll be able to see some of the other great things that we have happening. So just an overview of today's agenda. Going to introduce those of you that are new and everybody for our mission and vision. We love to do this because we want to connect our hearts and minds together into why we're here. So we find that if we start out this way, this really gets us connected. We're going to have our health minute, which will be a little more than a minute. Those of you that were here last month, and if you weren't here last month, I really invite you to go back and listen to that special talk. We have Larry Tyler today following up and sharing some more resources on that. We have Slight Edge financial update. A lot of people have been asking for kind of what's going on in the world. How do we stay ahead of what's happening and really position ourselves in a great way? Thank you, Cheryl, for instigating this and implementing this. We're going to have that today with Dale talking about that. We're going to feature a power partner, and those of you that got to be a part of our email and find out in our newsletter. Today, we're talking about the 3 high holy days and what does that mean to you. We'll also share a few more resources at the end, and then we'll be doing a breakout session for networking and collaboration and open it up for Q&A. So Larry, we didn't talk about this, but do you mind opening us up in an intention and prayer before we get started?
Sure. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together again, and we just ask your attendance and blessing upon this time and upon each person and their family and their business that's represented here. We thank you for your love and in this time and in our day-to-day activities. We ask your help to express this, your love to in each moment, each situation, and each person we come in contact with, and just bless this time in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much. So I like to pause here for a moment and have you read this for yourself. And I would love to hear in the chat, or we'd love to hear in the chat, what stands out for you in this moment? Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Larry, sharing. I love good news. We need more of that, don't we, Cheryl? And also for me, helping others fulfill God's will. Passion, purpose, thank you. Perfect, thank you. Wonderful. So I'm going to introduce a little bit of the team. Those of you that are here for the first time, you may have heard about Dale Hewett Collier. He is the founder and managing director of King's Counsel and Trust Family Office and Family Office Ministry. He has been tagged as a strategic philanthropist and a financial futurist. And those of you that know, it's like he's been given this blueprint, this this way of doing business, and really had a foresight of what's happening in the world today, and helping a number of people prepare over the last almost 2 decades in what's here. And one of the things that I love and I'm most excited about is the foresight to enact a new global system of wealth creation at a time of crisis, and reinventing private equity as a function of cash flow. There are many of us that have businesses, have ideas, and this beautiful instrument allows us to really come in community and help bring to life what we're here to do and have an even greater impact. We also have Thomas Richter here. And those of you that know Thomas is, oh my gosh, I think he has over 10,000 volunteer hours to King's Counsel and Trust. And what that means is volunteer hours for each one of us and all that he does. He also is one of the top people, if you're looking at sales and development and getting things out on a global scale or even a national scale, he's just remarkable at that. And I really see him as Dale's right-hand person. So, you know, he knows all the ins and outs of what happens here. And Erin Strayer, oh my goodness, this woman is a firecracker of light when it comes to all of the things in business, all of the systems, things that it requires to scale. Somebody that we would look at as a COO, and how do we really implement what we're doing on a big scale and all of the touch points that are there. We also have Larry Tyler, who we're going to hear from today. We call him the cash flow whisperer. This guy, anything cash flow money, he's somebody you want to rub elbows with. I think he brings us all great luck and a deeper understanding of financial freedom and what that looks like. Cheryl Bassett, oh my goodness, this woman is miraculous at really helping convey our messages in a way that we want, to where it has that impact that we want. There's so much, everybody here, and I know each of you, if you're here, you have many gifts and talents, but yeah, there's a lot here about Cheryl that I could say actually everybody, but her greatest asset is really how to be magnetic. Then myself, I'll be able to talk a little bit more. I'm kind of the featured power partner today, but I love helping people talk about capital, helping them get their messages out to the world. But I'm really excited. Cheryl, I'm going to ask you to introduce Julie, if you would, please.
Yeah, I don't know if I prepared Julie.
Okay.
But hey, Julie, if you want to, let me get Karen here. Raise your hand. Where are you, Julie? Oh, there she is. Over there.
I'm really hoping maybe there's another Julie somewhere.
Yes. So, Julie and I worked together. We were in production, actually, at a news station for a while, and that's how I met her. And then she's gone off and done things, and I've gone off and done things, and then we kind of recently came back together. She's a master at kind of like taking an hour or 2 hours worth of like these town halls or other content that we're doing, and she just pulls it all together and she puts it in a way where everybody gets it and understands it succinctly. So it's definitely her superpower, and we love her for that, because sometimes, you know, there's just so much out there. How do you really get that messaging down? And she's brilliant at it. But she also, for King's Counsel, is going to be doing interviews. So I think there's maybe some of you even here today that has heard from Julie, and she's going to be spotlighting, profiling people, and like the power partners and so forth, and doing testimonials. So please, if you hear from Julie, she's part of King's Counsel. She's working to get that information so we can get it, you know, spread more widely out through emails and out through the testimonials and on the website landing pages and all that kind of stuff. So we can feature these power partners that many of you are here on this call. So when you do hear from her, you know, just know she's part of King's Counsel. Julie, do you want to say anything further?
Hey, Cheryl, that was so great. I don't think I need to, other than I'm looking forward to talking to you all personally when we talk about your stories.
Great. So
Beautiful. And I just want to add, I love what you're doing in the newsletter and all that you're bringing to the table to really, when I read them, I don't know about you guys, if you're uplifted, maybe give a thumbs up, or like, it just really speaks to my heart each month and makes me inspired to be here, a part of this community. So thank you, Julie, for all that you're doing to convey what's in the heart of the community. Great. So just wanted to remind everybody of a couple of the systems that we've built out since our rededication. Yes, Erin. If you're introducing somebody that's new, or even if you've been here for a while, this is a great way to really talk about the difference between covenants and contracts. Julie and Cheryl created a powerful booklet that helps you kind of understand what makes us so unique and how to build those stronger relationships. Also, if you're just getting started, if you go to kctfo.com, we've developed a video series that walks you through all of the pieces of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and help you get an understanding of the language. Sometimes a lot of people come here and they're like, I didn't understand what an RRSC is, or I didn't understand what co-vesting is. And so we invite you to go through that process, which will actually lead you into the next step of how to get involved with us on a deeper level. So that's kctfo.com. Or the covenants. And so we're going to turn this over for a moment to Larry Tyler with the Health Minute, following up from last month.
Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate that. After last month's brief talk about keys to healthy living, we decided to take a moment or two each month and present information on a specific topic of health. We are a family, we're a community here, and we want to see everyone successful, prosperous, and fulfill their destiny, God-given destiny, to the fullest of their advantage. And so we decided to present this each month, just take a few minutes. And the context aside, in addition to we're a family, the community here is just darn difficult to fulfill your God-given destiny if you're not in good health. And so we want to see everybody in good health to fulfill their destiny to the greatest advantage that they can. Is we talked about last week, life is holistic. It's an ecosystem. And so are we in King's Counsel. And so if you or I are successful, it helps everybody else. If we're not, if we're in poor health, it seems to trickle down. I think that's called God's law of entanglement. And so this first month, we're going to talk about breath. I came to a situation recently, several weeks ago, that was emphasized how important the breath was. Especially, I caught myself in a situation where I didn't feel like I was breathing. I hike every weekend, a couple of times a week, and going uphill, downhill. We start out and get a rhythm of breathing, which makes it the hiking more effective and more fun. And I caught myself in front of a computer or talking with people where I basically wasn't breathing from my diaphragm. And so I went to a couple of books I had that were by Navy SEALs. And one of the important things that they do is practice regular breathing, deep breathing. If you think about what they do in their calling and their job, they do a lot of training for the specific types of adventures they go on to save us and to protect us. But so that when they do get in these critical situations, they can think clearly, they can move clearly, they're effective because they practice regular deep breathing and they remain calm, and so they can respond and react in a calm, effective way. Well, if you think about it a minute, in our calling, in our businesses, we do get into situations that seem to be life-threatening to us, but it requires effective deep breathing at times so we can remain calm and be effective at what we do. Just a couple of quick, I'll let you read those comments I pulled from the book, several of the books regarding written by Navy SEALs and to be successful in life. And I found that to be really interesting because I think we forget about how important breathing is. If you think about it, when God first made us, what was the first thing he did? He breathed into us. Think about, maybe we're still breathing some of that same breath or some of the Jesus breath when he was here on earth. A few more points about breathing, just to help bring this top of mind. And while you're sitting there, practice breathing from your diaphragm, and I think you'll feel much lighter, much better. What we're going to do in a minute, Cheryl will add something to the folder, and I've included in this folder. I know a lot of people don't read, but I've included, there's 7 or 8 book reviews. They're like only 6 pages long. They include a number of hyperlinks about different topics on breathing. And here's a quote from Dan Devine, a former Navy commander. But they also can, this folder will have some MP3s. And that's what we'll be doing every month, is including primarily some resources that you can go to help you out and with that particular topic. So with that, I'll throw it back to you, Shannon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Larry. I was opening up and I see there's even some audios in there, which is really exciting. Perfect. Okay, so the next section is going to be the Slight Edge financial update. Dale.
All right. This is one of my favorite topics, candidly, because we've often heard the talent and the treasure, the T3 principle. It boils down to this one thing. To the degree that we become better investors, what we call co-investors, because we don't do it alone, we do it in cooperation and community, we do it together. What we do together with our time, we're all busy, so take that off the table. We've all got 24 hours. How are we showing up in those 24 hours? Who we are doing it with, where we're doing it, and so on and so forth. Those first 2 T's determine our treasure principle. In this particular diagram here, you can actually go read more about it because this is actually a thing. But I'll give it to you in a psychological sense, and it's an acronym, BTFAR. What we believe determines what we think, that determines how we feel, that determines our actions, that determines our results. I hope everybody agrees with that. We're not here to debate that today. And so let that sink in a minute. What I'm trying to say in so many words is that this diagram is pointing out our best thinking. Okay, it has gotten us all to where we are today. And if we don't like what we see, then we owe it to ourselves, our families, our employers, our organizations, respectively, to re-examine that, because our thinking might be stinking. And so this slight edge principle, of which there's about 7, I just highlight as you're looking at the diagram here, comes down to number 1, just showing up. Okay. No one can be paid to show up. The kingdom of God is a voluntary thing. How we show up here, what we do to demonstrate how the honor economy works, is not a paper play or a paper prayer in some cases. It's consistency. It's more importantly, how we're showing up when no one else is watching. It's the attitude. It's not just attitude of gratitude, but it's attitude can do. There's a lot of gloom and doom going on right now. If you're on the more mainstream channels, I would say there's opportunity in that. I'm not looking for a pluck out, as it were. Some Christian folks like to think that they're rapture ready. There isn't any case precedent for that. For those of us that are called for such a time as this. I believe we're going through it. I believe we'll be adequately equipped, and to God be the glory, because it won't be anything we can certainly think of, because our best thinking worldwide has gotten us where we are today. How's that working for us? You know, one of my favorite of the fourth points of the 7 principles of this edge is committed for a long period of time. We've graduated to living in a microwave economy where we can't even watch a full video anymore. We need to now watch shorts and clips because we don't want to watch the whole thing. We don't want to watch commercials that used to be, back in the 70s, almost 2 minutes. 30 seconds, it seems like a lifetime now. Where is it going to be in the next 10 years? Who knows? Folks don't read. You know, they want somebody else to read it for them. And if they haven't read for them, they want someone else to interpret it. You see, we're graduating. If you kind of look at, again, at the little chart here, we're graduating into an entitlement type economy where we've grown to be comfortable. We're becoming lazy, really. And unfortunately, you know, that's not what's going to get us. You know, look at these things going up is like what I think. But most of our decisions every day in terms of consistently how we're showing up are actually taking us backwards, because most of us are pursuing comfort. What's the easy thing to do, not the right thing to do. No one likes to work out, but we certainly love the benefits. Yeah, but we'd all rather take a pill. Nevertheless, you know, it takes having faith and a burning desire, and this is the flaw in the law of attraction for all the woo-woo folks that might be saying, hey, just believe it, name it, and claim it. No, because where that falls short is not also addressing the pitfalls, the obstacles, the challenges that undoubtedly will come. But until we've mentally prepared ourselves to say, I have what it takes, and I'm going to do what it takes, and more importantly, willing to pay the price to get to the other side, most of us will fail. That's a fact. Most of us have stinking thinking. And in the end, what we really stress around here, and we put all these 7 things together in this to give us this slight edge, is integrity. What the world is screaming for right now is transparency and better governance. We don't need more laws. We don't need more attorneys. We don't need more wars. We just need folks to do what they say they would do. You see, because again, you can't legislate morality or integrity for that matter. You know, so without getting into the politics of it all, suffice to say, you know, let's look at this diagram here and how are we showing up every day? And so while you're looking at that, I just took a few notes and I did a comparison about where we are in the last 20 years. Let me drive it home in terms of what you can no longer do or can do, as the case may be, because this is the story that got us to where we are today. It's not just you, your organization, your family, your country. It's the whole world and the predicament that we're in. But let's look at the last 20 years. $1 million in 1993 is approximately worth, you know, your average rate of compound growth and so on and so forth, you know, just about $2.1 million today. Reasonable. We got one problem with that, though, and it's called inflation. It's the hidden tax nobody really talks about. And so what does that mean to you and yours? It means that in the last 20 years, well, you may have doubled, more than doubled that $1 million to $2 million. It's estimated that the current rate of inflation within 5 years will cut that in half. Let me put it in real terms. If you're not sitting on $5 million in terms of real value and cash value of something that's going to preserve that, I don't mean cash in the fiat sense of the word, but I'm talking real assets. I don't know that you've got enough to make it to the end of life, because everything they've taught us about Social Security and the American dream and pursuing financial independence in this country is a flat out lie. I don't know if you understand that or not. Let me say that again. It's a lie. There's nothing about the kingdom economy that is about independent way of thinking, okay? It's an interdependent. Let's give credit where it's due. Stephen Covey, he talks about having a family mission statement and how that's so important in coming together. Interdependence is our only hope through the mess that's getting ready to come down. Your financial advisor, your attorney, your accountant, they're all giving independent advice. When's the last time you actually had a meeting with all of them interdependently working? That's unheard of. That's how we roll here. And if that's not of an interest at all or any value at all, then hey, can't help you. I can't convince you otherwise the importance of working together. Working solo going forward is not going to cut it. And here's why. Because if you think on the surface that your only solution is to work harder, that's what the American dream, you see, was built on back in the day. But that work harder has gotten us to that the guy that makes $50,000 a year now drives a $60,000 a year, $60,000 worth of a vehicle now. He has to replace that thing, every 5 years. We have to replace our homes, it seems, every 3-5 years. No one's living in their homes anymore. No one actually works for a corporation the way they did in the industrial age, where you could spend an entire lifetime there. And so as a result, we find ourselves at 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. In that household, the average student debt is more than 6 figures. And 1 in 2, gets this, have no retirement plan whatsoever. The bottom line is your lifestyle, our lifestyle, the American dream, where you think you could come here, you could come with nothing and work hard and make it, it's not working. It's not. And being busy is not the answer, because if we thought that a man could go out and support his family, that wasn't good enough. We were taught that the woman needs to go out now too. And well, where do the kids now have parents? Who's teaching them? Without getting into the agenda, I'm just saying there's not any more of moms and dads to go around. There is no other parent to go get another job. There isn't any more hours in the day. So I'm suggesting to you, working harder is not the answer. Where we're at today, if we're honest with ourselves, and this diagram that we're looking at, is that we got to bring new thinking to the table, better questions to the table. We almost have to adopt, this might sound nuts, adopt the mindset of Generation Z. I'm on the front edge of X. I don't know about y'all, but that's another story for another time. But Zs, they're a few letters away from me. And the bottom line is they know it doesn't work. They're tired of the hypocrisy. Screw you. I'm not buying it. I do not comply. I'm not wearing the mask. I'm not taking the jab. I'm not going to go get a 6-figure education. And I'm not going to just get a job. It's not working. My parents are failing. My parents are getting divorced. I have an identity crisis. I'm supposed to listen to you? No. They're smart enough to say, no, I will not comply. I'm going to look for a different way. I'm going to do something, even if it's wrong, because I know to continue to do that, that's foolish. So what am I suggesting? Practically speaking, if you're looking at investments still, for those of you that are in the game, look, if you're not doing better than 20% a year, don't waste your time. There's a couple of you I see on today. We've had that talk. It doesn't matter. That's a slow death, because at the rate of inflation, at the rate at which eggs, chicken eggs of all things, going up, most of us won't be able to afford eggs, cheese, milk, a lot of other fresh produce at the rate it's going with our current situation. This is heavy stuff. And I'm here to tell you that after a long, long time when we were in the wilderness and folks thought we were nuts, that some of the things that we have going on today are pretty exciting. I'm not saying we're anti-government. I'm not saying we're anti the Federal Reserve, the anti-IRS, or anti-anything else. We're just pro something else. God gave us a blueprint. And it looks like the heavenly blueprint, as it were. Most of us don't have the eyes to see it, unfortunately. So I pray for all of you that you invite the Holy Spirit to kind of show you what that looks like, so that when it, you're looking right at, oh, yeah. And so I know that for many that are first coming to King's Counsel to kind of scratch that itch a little bit, there's something here, but I'm telling you, there's a blueprint issue thing going on. Our mission is to live and breathe and demonstrate that to you all. Okay, no one's paid to be here. We operate on an honor economy. We don't show up empty-handed. See, again, that's entitlement. Oftentimes those that would come seeking the wisdom of Solomon, they would come bearing gifts. If you're a king and a queen, that's protocol. But how often did they, more often than not, they left in a better situation as a result of that relationship. And we in the King's Counsel, it's who we are in serving the King of Kings, the counsel that's spelled a certain way. After several years, some folks still can't spell that correctly. Check your dictionary, please. And trust is not a statutory, a legalic way of looking at things, but more of the law written on our heart. And it really gets us to really what's so important in the significance of this month and the 3 highest holy days of the 7 of the Lord's feasts. Before they were a law, this was what God said back in Leviticus when he was talking about my calendar. This is when I show up and I bless my people. This is when I show up and I hand out allowances. This is when I show up and I promote and graduate people. For most of us, we're operating on a Roman calendar. We don't even know what God's calendar is. I'll get to that in a minute. But Shannon, I feel I need some help here. This got to be a lot heavier than I anticipated. And so help.
Great. So thank you so much, Dale. We're excited each month to have this moment to get that insight. So it'd be really great just to give Dale some feedback also on what did you take home from this? Is there an action step that you were called and you heard and or an aha moment from what he just shared? I know that was a lot, but just share one that really stood out for you, or if there's more, share that too. Thank you so much, Dale, for helping us all get our house in order, being aware of what you see in the world and how we can really take action to make a difference.
One more point: solutions to those problems are on the back end of this call after we kind of mingle a little bit. Stay tuned.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. How we can serve more. I love it. All right. Well, I didn't plan on the introducing myself, but every month we feature a power partner. And so thank you so much for giving me this brief moment just to be highlighted. The Business Acceleration Network is reinventing entrepreneurship through community and collaboration. And real quick, I wanted to invite all of our power partners, King's Counsel and Trust. You have a free pass to our upcoming 9th Media Magic Boot Camp. This is where we help you create your press kit in like 48 hours or less. We have a media panel. We have Carol, who's here, who's been one of our guest mentors. We help you craft that pitch that becomes magnetic. And so please reach out to, you can email me at info@shannonprocise.com or go to meetshannon.com, and there's my text, my cell. And if you're an active power partner with King's Counsel and Trust, you do have a guest pass, and we're going to talk to you about how to really maximize that for your business. And just wanted to share one of the things that I love about being a power partner with King's Counsel and Trust is this place to really foster community. It's like I feel like I've got a lot of the resources with the business and business connections. We have lots of mentors in our organization, but I found that at King's Counsel and Trust, this is a place where I can really work on getting my house in order. There's a lot here that I didn't understand about trusts and wealth creation and really how to have that greater impact. And so I feel so honored to be a part of this community. Excuse me. And thank you so much for allowing me to share and contribute and co-host the town hall gathering. So now, Dale, sorry, I'm losing my wind here. We're going to talk about the 3 high holy days. So I'll pass that over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I almost wanted to dive into it and I didn't. So thank you for helping me with a nice little transition. So all of this to say, in the midst of, kind of what's going on in the world, as I just want to grab the link of the 7 principles before, it's in the chat. The high holy days, I owe you all an apology. I did not edit the last newsletter, and I think there could have been a few dates that were off. Just by show of hands, if I could, does everyone recognize these 3 Rosh Hashanahs, otherwise known as kind of the Jewish New Year, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Tabernacles, booths, sometimes it's called. Is that a familiar to anyone at all?
Of course. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, this is Elliot Silver. I can't get my video to work. I'm working on the computer right now.
No
yes,
worries.
but everyone calls them the high holidays. But in truth, what's the most religious Jewish holiday?
The most?
Yes.
Jewish. My guess might be lights in Hanukkah.
Nope. Nope.
Okay. Take me to school.
The Sabbath. The only holiday made by God. The rest of them are man-made.
I like it. Love it.
Amen.
Cool. As I point out, some of what we do, if you're wondering why, when we do what we do, is there's a time, there's a sequence, and for all things. And if we're on the right road, as the saying goes, but we're faced in the wrong direction, we can still get run over. And if we're on the right road, but we're not keeping pace, as it were, we still could be missing the mark and be overtaken or run off the road. And I want to always point out to you that what we do, we make our decisions based on what the good book has told us, both in the old and the new. In terms of anything that we're doing, we encourage any of you, if you've got any question at all, where do you get that? Where did you learn that? And how is that a principle and applied? So if you've never read our co-investment policy, for example, why we both give and do what we do in terms of philanthropy and co-vesting, every bit of it comes right out of the word. It's pretty cool. What just so happens in terms of what we do and when we show up, you might recall in the springtime was a rededication. And that was around Pentecost, if you recall. I'd encourage you all, before we get into our breakouts, to kind of reflect at least on some of these 3 and why they are important, is because according to what has been or already occurred, the first of the 4 have already occurred. But what's interesting in these these 3 is they happened within 2 weeks. So no one knows when that end time was. Jesus was not a name dropper in terms of dates and times and exactly this, that, and just be about your business. You'll know by these signs and when they show up and how they show up. My question is to you all, while we may be looking, are you aware? If any of this is new to you, I would encourage you to look into the significance of what these feasts mean, because whether it's the Jewish religion or a Muslim or not, I mean, everybody can understand what we've arrived at, how significant New Year's is for most people worldwide, or the Christmas holiday. Bottom line, we're talking spiritual renewal. We're talking about community and family and cultural traditions and theological beliefs. You know, how does our faith show up in the marketplace on the other 6 days besides the Sabbath? You know, we're supposed to rest for a reason. It was one of the 10 links in terms of the original 10 commandments. It's just as important as murder and a false witness. Are we resting? As Stephen Covey would refer to it, are we sharpening the saw? And the seventh habit really lends itself to rest. That's so important of us. Most of us are burnt out. I'd be the first one to admit I have to take better care of Dale this year, or I might not see the finish line. It's certainly not for thinking or lack of desire. I just won't have enough in the tank. We all need an oil change now and again. Stuff requires maintenance. And I would encourage you, in terms of seasonal reflection, you know, like to learn more about this. We've got a lot of great teaching in our faith and worship section of our library. You know, we'd like to hear from you, especially if you're a power partner already, you have an office, or you don't have an office just yet, but you're getting an office. There's still a lot to learn and see. So much here beyond the scope of this call, but we'd like to certainly highlight that what we do is not arbitrary in any sense of the word. That we're very much paying attention what Dad's doing and what time it is in the world right now. And we are so hopeful because we have solutions that the world just cannot offer in any shape or form. And that's part of why I'm so excited to kind of network with y'all, and y'all to meet each other, because most of you don't know each other just yet. And we do a better job of community, of koinonia together, and a better job of oikonomia, God's economy, of his dispensation of spiritual gifts, talents, and blessings. So let's go rub elbows for a few minutes, and I'll see you on the other side. Shannon, please let us know about a little bit more how to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And real quick, you may be saying, okay, I want to be a power partner. You guys are talking about some cool stuff. I want to be featured on this slide. Go to kctfo.com and go through the video series and get started. At the end of that series, that'll direct you into the next steps. And we would love to have you a part of our community. We have many ways of getting involved. And so please take a moment to do that. So in our breakout rooms, before we get started, I want to launch this poll really quick, because I know some of you are going to say, I don't want to break out. Or you may run off. We invite you to stay along, because this is where you get to meet some incredible people and have that deeper conversation. When you get into the breakout room, you want to allow 2 minutes each. And this is where you'll have the opportunity to share who you are. And then we want to invite you to talk about the high holy days. What does this mean to you? You know, or I do have to say, if there's something that you came here for today that you're looking for, support, love, prayer, whatever that is for you, you can also share that in this moment. You have 2 minutes where you get to connect and share who you are. And when you get into the breakout room, there should be somebody there from KCT, somebody as a part of our team, or other partners and individuals that play with us. We do ask that there be a timekeeper, and please stop at 2 minutes. It's really important. We want that last person to have a chance to be able to go and share and connect. And I do know that we have a couple of rooms. All right, let me move this around. People are already leaving here, and I did launch the poll. Is everybody getting that okay? Because it's not showing results yet.
The poll, I answered 4 questions and it disappeared like in 30 seconds. You got to change the timer to let people have like 5 minutes to fill it out.
Oh,
that's what I experienced.
I imagine. Let me redo this again. Please, if you are a co-host, do not close the poll. Co-host, don't touch the poll. I just did a relaunch. Did that come up again?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so co-hosts, please don't touch the poll. I'll go ahead and end that when we're ready here. And so your feedback is really important. You can also email helpdesk at Thomas, do you mind putting the help desk email in the chat? Or sharing what it is. All right, and there's a couple of rooms with 3 people. You'll have a little bit longer. So you could probably go 3 minutes each. All right, and I'm just going to give a poll a couple more minutes here. Thank you for giving feedback. We really appreciate that. And when we come back, we have a couple of other really cool tools we'll be sharing. Get your camera ready because we've got the QR codes all set up for you to be able to capture and go directly to those websites. These are some powerful education things to help inform you on some of the things that are happening right now and talk about our wallet. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. Thank you for those of you doing the polls. Please leave the poll open. I see there's still a few more people and I'll close it out once it's ready, but I'll go ahead and open up the rooms. And again, you have 2 minutes each, and go ahead and find somebody to be a timekeeper. If there's 3 people, you have 3 minutes each. Hi, Karen. We do invite you to be on the camera. We want to see that beautiful smile. All right, see you soon.
One, two, three, four, where it can get you to a certain point of literacy. In the grand scheme of things, no one can do it for you. You see, kingdom is there because you want to be there. There is no proxy. There's no representation. There's no attorneys. There's no accountants. It's you. And when someone knocks on the door, how you respond, what you say or don't say, as the case may be, is really, really important. This is a place to go learn all about it. And Thomas, if someone were to get started, where would you tell them to get started besides get in touch with yourself? If you want to just chime in just a couple minutes there.
Well, I would say that if you just Google ICOVEST Academy, that will take you to the financial ministry. It's really a school of financial ministry of finance, if you will. ICOVEST Academy is essentially the white labeling of King's Counsel and Trust material, and it's been white labeled to appeal to a broader audience. And there's a lot going on and a lot to learn at ICOVEST Academy. ICOVEST Academy is a subset of a larger initiative called ICOVEST. But here again, I think Help Desk is probably your best place to start if you want to lean in, learn a little bit more about what's going on at the Academy. I'd be happy to have a discussion with you about it. I've walked with, there's a very precise way to engage. This is a sponsorship type of a role. So someone needs to be a sponsor. Someone needs to be your, I don't want to use multi-level marketing because that's the wrong language, but this is by invitation only. This is essentially a private membership association of a community that is similar to KCT. I don't know that anybody on this call here that I see is part of the ICOVEST community. But it's not exclusive. You can be a member of KCT and part of ICOVEST. You can be a part of ICOVEST and not be part of KCT. We're pulling in the same direction. We have the same goals in mind, and that's to provide alternatives to the world's economic system and the turmoil that we find ourselves in. We're simply trying to bring about new solutions, new opportunities for people with an open mind who are willing to unlearn what they've been taught since their childhood. And as Dale said earlier, most of what you've been taught is frankly it hasn't been working for us. As you can see, if you're awake, you can see that we're in trouble. So what's wrong with this picture? We have another opportunity for people who want to lean in and learn a little bit more about the kingdom economy, the give and receive economy, the honor economy, all these terms that we use interchangeably. Don't be frustrated that you don't understand all the terms. It took me years to get it. And as Dale showed in that first slide, it was very uncomfortable for me early on in my early days with KCT. It's pretty easy now. I practice enough where it's almost hard to make a mistake, but I do make mistakes. But don't be frustrated. Don't be hard on yourself. If you feel like I'm not smart enough, I can't, this is too hard. That's simply a lie from the pit of hell. You are smart enough. Lean in. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not easy. That's why not very many people do it. So I'll end with that. Help.desk at King's Counsel and Trust. That's the way to reach me. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about if you want to learn more about the academy. Dale, I'll let you talk about the wallet or the vault here.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. I will say too, if we get Thomas, if we get more than, I'll just say 2 or 3, we'll probably do a group type session, because sure, the one-off call is just not the most efficient use of our time these days. And y'all can learn from one another from one another's questions. We might just do the presentation that way. So stay tuned on it. This one is a beta of what was intended to be a wallet. We are moving more towards a vault type scenario where in a vault there could be multiple wallets. And if you've never heard the concept of what is a DEX, or a decentralized exchange, it's just a fancy, I'll just say, cryptologic term for I'll just say the digital economy of an unincorporated association. It is not a legal fiction, not an LLC. It's not a partnership. You see what I'm saying? Hence, it's outside of the jurisdiction. I will say this, in terms of what time it is in the world, by the way, in terms of, if you don't know how these Q codes work, there's a thing on your camera. I don't know how to explain it. Macs and Androids are different, but you can take a picture and go learn more about these things. Suffice to say, if you don't know, we're coming into the significance of why these times and seasons are really, really important in the back end of this month, is because a year from now, we've got a major election coming down the United States. How many of you know, for example, this is public knowledge, that the current United States corporation is bankrupt. The Biden administration is administering, or falsely administering, a bankrupt organization. Okay. When organizations go bankrupt, the stock certificates, the things that they use in terms of equitable value, what we call fiat, a currency, goes to zero. Before the rest of America wakes up, and the rest of the world, because that same dollar is also the reserve currency for every other aspect in the world, they want you to believe that ushering in a new digital dollar, a USDC or a USDT, regardless of what technology it's built on, is going to be the answer. Don't do it. Alternatively, you might have heard about a group called BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and about a half a dozen other countries have all just jumped on board, because they totally don't trust that system. They totally want to get back to an asset-backed system. And this has been going on since 2008. That's how long I've been involved in terms of what the alternative system is. I'll let you both know that both are corrupt. If you think that the gold's going to get you out of the situation, you got another thing coming, because who controls that gold? Who's behind these other countries? Most of them you don't particularly care for. So this is not a Democratic thing or a Republican thing, but this is very much a race for global control. I'm here to let you know that there's a third option. Can't get into it on the scope of this call. This is one of 3 different I'll just say digital storage ledgers that we've been looking at working with. It's not open to everyone everywhere all over the place yet. Okay, but if you understand and learn between now and the next time the principles behind it and what we're doing and why, you're going to begin to understand that you don't have a lot of choice. You're either going 100% digital in some shape or form, or you're going asset backed. And most of you, I already know, I don't mean just on this call, I'm saying anyone who's listening to this, you don't already have a retirement plan. And if you had to go back and live the Civil War again, you don't have a strategy to come out well on the other side. Despite learning how the war began, it happened and it ended. Guys, if we're not going to learn from our mistakes, what are we doing? I'm going to suggest there's two courses of a strategy. And so that's what we're going to be getting into next town hall, and how to thrive in this next year ahead, because there's going to be a lot of, I'll just say, kabuki theater going on between now and the next so-called election, because it won't be for the United States of America as we know it. End of the month, we talked about some high holy days. I also know that there's a September 23rd, 2023. If you haven't heard a little bit about some of the rumors around that, I'm not casting a warning. I'm not casting a celebration. Learn more about September 23rd and what's going on around it. I might also add that if you don't already have Faraday bags or something to protect your electronics, those of you that are within the purview of FEMA, there is a major countrywide test coming up in the beginning of October. Don't be surprised if there's blackouts and some few things get fried in the meantime. So not a very nice agency, considering what we've seen them already be doing in how they're showing up in Hawaii. So please, please, please be alert. Don't be doing anything foolish and traveling unnecessarily towards the end of this month and into next. There's a reason why things are going on around the high holy days. And unfortunately, it usually tends to happen over long weekends, for example. You know, while everybody's off partying, while everybody's, celebrating or watching back of their football or doing everything else but what they should be doing and remaining vigilant, that's a great time to be kind of dealing with something else going on over here. Make no mistake, with all of what the stuff going on around the wars in the Ukraine and what's going on with the economic forum and the politics of America, and just in the Revelation, it tells us what the next situation looks like. And I personally believe it's all of those powers to be that are jockeying for position to introduce the next controlling beast system. Beasts in the Bible are systems. They're not people. And that system, the warning, the word of knowledge is very clear. That if you don't have the mark of that system, you cannot interoperate with that system. You won't be able to eat. You won't be able to feed your family. Why would anyone take a mark or have some type of interactivity with that system? Is because they're simply trying to survive. But there's a warning with that, because if you take the mark, it also talks about having potentially your name blotted out of the book of life. So that's nothing to be fearful of. That's kind of like there's a curve ahead, there's a nice caution sign curve, slow down. There's another way. And the other way is simply this, is to have what you need in case of emergency. You hope you never need it, but it's there if you do. It's called divine assurance. Dad's got a plan. We're going through this. We're going to make a difference. And y'all have a role in it in some shape or form. You do. All the world's a stage, and we're merely players, the foolers and portrayers. You heard the song. This was Rush back in the, a long time ago. There's nothing new under the sun here. I encourage all of you to figure out what role you play in this movie called life. I'd like to hear from you. And thanks for showing up today. I know we're over time. I really appreciate your patience and playing with us today. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you have files are really good, a Faraday bag, very cheap, easy to find. I've been using them for a year. For everybody's looking for a Faraday bag.
Oh.
Awesome. Feel free to drop that in the, if you have information in the chat. If you had a Q&A, please feel free to reach out to the help desk email, save the chat. We'd love to hear, you know, if there's any feedback, comments, and thank you so much. Thomas, team, anything else before we say goodbye for today?
If you want to, again, go to reinforce the new way to engage KCT. If you have people that you think you'd like to bring to the community, please have them start at kctfo.com, go through the video series, and take your time going through it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, family. See you next
Jim.
month. I did drop in the link for the town hall. So if, even though you've registered in Zoom, if you could go and re-register there, we have a whole system of reminders and automation there so that you don't have to keep re-registering each month. So with that, we'll see you soon. And thank you so much. Bye for now.